What's going on, guys? It's Ben.
It's the Jimmy.
And then we got Shaun, the Hypno Hick here. We are the two crew from Relentless Empire. I'm glad and you guys can join us on this nice podcast that we're doing with our guest here. Just kind of switch it up here from our regular podcast. Kind of want to bring in new content, new things to kind of keep everything flowing and keep everything going as far as energy-wise. Because, you know, the more emotion we bring creates more emotion for everybody else. So,
let's hop right in. We'll start live on the stream right now. All right, guys, welcome into the Relentless Empire podcast. I'm Jimmy, this is Ben, and today we have Shaun. Shaun, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
So my name is Shaun Christensen. I'm also known as the Hypno Hick. What else do you want to know?
Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
All right. So, I'm a hypnotist. I perform all across the Western United States. I do about 70 shows a year. I'm changing kind of my branding, so we'll talk about that, I'm sure, here in a little while, going from Hypno Hick to the Shaun Christensen experience, and yeah, I'll tell you guys all about that.
All right, right on. Well, let's hop right into this.
So, I mean, kind of our background is, we kind of started this from basically nothing to create something as far as a culture-wise goes. From where we grew up and how we grew up, we never really had the best options and really didn't have much as we grew up. But as we claimed and got better with life, and as we grew, we decided that enough is enough. You know, we're not gonna buy into the social norm of this is what you have to do and this is how you're gonna get it.
Sure.
It's not that way anymore. I would say maybe 40, 50 years from us, back in the day, it was like that. You took these steps and you worked a job for 40, 50 years and then bam, you retire, and that's what it is. And we don't want that for us, and we want people to know that, you can be who you are and still succeed. You don't have to have people tell you how to be or who to be to make money or even live a good life. So
yeah, exactly. This brand is all about just being relentless in your quest for success. We're all faced with adversities each day, and we're all faced with challenges that we need to rise up and overcome. And I think anyone who becomes aware of that can change the situation they're in, regardless of where they live, what they've been through, what they've gone through.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this brand is just to put that out there to the world and just to help as many people as we can with whatever support we can give them.
for sure.
Cool.
So Shaun, how did you get into being the Hypno Hick? What is that all about?
So I started off in psychology. I was studying psychology in high school. I wanted to be a psychologist. I was a super depressed teenager and decided I wanted to go. I was seeing therapists and decided that's the route I wanted to go because I had a lot of help that way. And in school, we had a hypnotist come to our class and say, hey, you can cut therapy into a third of the time by using hypnosis, getting to the root of the problem. And I thought, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. So I went that route. I became a hypnotherapist first, and then I just decided to start doing the stage shows and joined a hypnotist up in Salt Lake for a couple of years and was mentoring under him, and then I broke off and started doing my own shows, and they took off. So Hypno Hick actually came as a joke. I was Damien Knight first was my stage name. And then as a joke, I was at dinner with a couple of other hypnotists, and we were just talking one day, and a friend of mine said, well, I didn't want to be in a tuxedo. That's how I used to come out on stage. I was in a tuxedo, and I was like, well, Damien Knight, it was dark and dingy, and I didn't like that. So I wanted to change that whole perception of hypnosis, and I wasn't comfortable on stage. And so my friend said, well, what would you be comfortable in? Well, I grew up around horses and stuff. It's like, well, cowboy clothes, dude. And he's like, well, they come out as a cowboy. And at that time, there's nobody's going to be hypnotized by a cowboy. Not going to happen. So actually, the next week, we decided I was going to come out in a cowboy hat. I was still in a tuxedo, but I wore a cowboy hat, Wranglers, but the tuxedo top. The crowd was completely different. And so that just was like, okay, that's awesome. That's what I'm going to do. So the next Monday, I bought the name Hypno Hick and took off on that. So I've been that for 12 years now.
Oh, wow. I love that, man. What goes into being the hypnotist? Just curious.
So, like a therapist or like a stage hypnotist?
Let's say a therapist.
Okay, so if you want to be a therapist, obviously the desire to help people change, and then there's a schooling. There's a school through what's called the National Guild of Hypnotists, which is who I was trained through, and went to their school, and it's 75 in-classroom hours, 25 out-of-classroom hours that you study to become a hypnotherapist, or in Utah we have to call it a consulting hypnotist. So you go through that school, and then you get certified, and then you can open your practice, and then there's different branches from that you can work with. So in the school you learn stop smoking, lose weight, stress reduction, you can work with sports and habits type stuff. Then once you can branch off and become certified in forensics hypnosis or PTSD or pain management or all these other forms. And so that's kind of what we had to do. I actually own a school. I'm a certified instructor through the National Guild of Hypnotists where I can train other people to do that.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So as far as like when you said that you can dive into be certified in the hypno forensics, so that's basically you go in with law enforcement, right? You help out law enforcement for sketch artists or to go in and remember details of a crime or
Correct.
or for with victims and everything like that, right?
Yeah. So a victim of a crime, so remember what a license plate number might have been, or what a suspect of a crime may look like. All those things to help remember, to relax, to calm down and focus on things that you may not consciously remember, but the subconscious mind picked up on it. Or we could even work with the law enforcement themselves to remember the order of details of something happened, because they may not remember exactly who shot first and where did the sounds come from, or stuff like that. And we can hypnotize them to slow everything down to remember.
Oh wow, see, that's awesome. That's cool. So and in stepping into that, when you do that, like you can go like small as far as city law enforcement goes, and then go as big as what the FBI as far as like the BAU and stuff like that.
Sure. And now the way it works is in Utah, it's based on whether the judge allows it to be admissible into court or not. So there's different laws you have to kind of work around.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, that's really cool. And I'm into that stuff. I kind of wanted to be into like forensics and CSI and stuff when I was a kid, and then I was going to be a marshal, and then I got into sales, and then I realized what a marshal made coming out of marshal school. And I was like, and I saw what I made in sales, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stick with this.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was really cool, and that's awesome.
I think that's a really interesting concept, being able to hypnotize someone. I'm not sure I fully understand it.
I would love to try sometime.
Yeah, sure. You know what's funny is I seen you perform while I was in high school.
Oh,
In the-
Yeah, I was gonna say,
the show at the high school.
I remember that too in the auditorium. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
that's a long time ago. We're getting old, man.
So again, I'm not sure if we mentioned this. How long have you been doing this for?
So I became certified. When I got certified, you could call yourself a hypnotherapist. That's a difficult word for me to break. But basically, I got certified in that in 2003. And then in 2004, I started doing the stage shows. So 14 years.
14 years,
Been doing
that's
stage
awesome.
shows, yeah.
It's a long time. And you just travel all over the state, right? Or have you stuck like in state of the Utah, or have you traveled outside
Yeah,
of Utah
the
to
whole
do shows?
West.
The whole
So,
West Coast. Oh wow,
yeah.
that's awesome.
So how do you go about getting bookings and stuff for that?
So I have tried everything from newspaper, television, radio, flyers. None of it works as good as word of mouth and
Yeah.
business cards. That is how I advertise everything. It's like I hand out probably 1,000 business cards a year.
Oh wow.
And I'm just constantly, everybody I meet, boom, here's a card, here's a card, here's a card, here's a card. Cool thing with social media now is like, hey, you got an Instagram? Here, add me, like I did with you.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, add me right here. And so that's kind of a new cool thing. I got fortunate to start breaking back east because I was on a plane, and I actually had an article written about me it was called the Sky West magazine. And I was sitting there, or I was walking by, and this lady was looking at that article, and I was like, hey, that's me. And she's like, no, it's not. And anyway, so it was, obviously. And so she's like, wow, my sister's in charge of the Billings High All Grad Party, and so I'm going to have her call you. So I gave her a card, and then she called me, and that's how I broke into that. So I got into Billings, and because I was in Billings, I got into Cody, Wyoming. Then I met another hypnotist and got involved in Portland, Oregon, and so that kind of opened up that whole West. And I actually just got a call today to do a show up in Idaho, and I've never been to Soda Springs, Idaho, so I'm going to be doing a show up there.
That's
2 shows
awesome,
up there.
man.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's really cool to see the network just grow and just how you branch out and become, go to different areas to be able to do it.
Yeah. One of the things too, speaking of like branching out and growing, is when somebody comes to a show and they like the show, now somebody in the audience may work for a company or a corporation or something, and they're like, hey, we need you for our company party. And that's, I've got 14, I think, company Christmas parties this year,
Oh wow.
based on people who have just seen my show.
Just come to the show
That's
and everything
awesome.
like that.
That's awesome.
I mean, can you just say like how crazy has networking been from when you started till now?
Oh my gosh.
Like how is it fully blown up for you as far as being on social media, as far as like Instagram, Facebook? I mean, I don't know if you're on Twitter, but Twitter and everything like that. And
Yeah, there was none of that when I started,
Yeah.
right? There was none of that social media type stuff, and I mean, you definitely didn't have it on the cell phone.
No,
You had to get on your
of course.
computer, and then there was MySpace was like the big thing. At that time. So it was kind of like, hey, I'm a hypnotist on MySpace. That was like the coolest way to social network, and now it's just completely exploded. It's so easy now, and it's awesome. And I wanted to learn how to market so bad, and you go to the library. We used to go to the library. You go to the library and you're like trying to find marketing books, or you go to the to a store, to Barnes and Noble, and try to find these marketing books, and everything's on how to market a product. You know, and that's not what I'm marketing. I'm not marketing a product. I'm marketing a service. There's nothing about that.
Yeah.
So it was just trial and error and doing and yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. It's really cool how you can build your own personal brand today using social media. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, of course, right?
Sure.
Living up to your brand. I think that's probably one of the hardest things with Relentless Empire is being
No, for
relentless
sure.
all the time and being emotionally resilient when bad things happen, just picking yourself up and keep going, you know?
You know, I listened to that podcast that you've done a while ago about based on that and how when something happens it can ruin our day, and I've been thinking about that all day, and it was kind of crazy because I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk today as well,
Oh, yeah.
and he was talking about the same
for
thing.
sure.
Yeah, he was talking about the exact same thing. I'm like, okay, there's something in this that I got to focus on today. So I've been thinking about that, about how resilient you have to be when something bad happens, and it's so easy to let it just take you down and knock you back.
Yeah,
And
for
when
sure.
you are an entrepreneur, you have to figure out new things and new ways, and what am I going to do? And it's crazy. It's just crazy how you have to just keep your chin up, and that's the downside about social media is because if I'm at the store and I cuss or something at the store, somebody's got this thing right here and like, oh look, they
Yeah.
just cuss. Well, I mean, you can't. You gotta always be on your game now, which that's a little bit of a downside, but it's also like kind of cool.
It kind of forces
Sure.
us, right,
Yeah.
to live that and embrace that and take that in. Have you had any hard times in your career that you can think of that you kind of look back on and say, hey man, I'm really glad that I didn't just give up at that point and I'm just going to keep pushing and keep going?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, when I first was getting started, probably the first 5 years, you know, family, they love you,
No,
right?
for
Family
sure,
loves
yeah.
you, and family wants to see you succeed, but they don't want to see you hurt. And so when you're stressed and you call mom and you're like, hey, oh my gosh, this is so hard, then we'll just quit.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to them. Well, just stop doing it. Just go get a real job. You know,
Yeah.
I was working a real job, but it wasn't my passion. When you got a passion for something, nothing stops you, right?
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
And so, and I was ready to throw in the towel multiple times. And when family's like, well, just quit, get a real job, it's like starting to eat at you. You're thinking, you know what, man, if I just work the 30 years and retire and hopefully get a gold watch.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
Hopefully you have enough money at retirement.
But
Yeah.
I mean, and that's crazy too. Like you said, that family loves you and they're always going to support you and they're always going to be there for you, right? I mean, I've had my downfalls as far as like pushing this and and being stressed and everything like that. I mean, I always call my mom all the time, and I'm sure she's watching and everything like that. But
Hi, Mom.
but no, I call her all the time and I say, Mom, I get very overexcited and overworked about a few things and I mean, I'm really glad to have my mom because she's there to calm me down and say, hey, relax. This is what you got to think about, and you can't give up. You got to keep pushing forward. This is your dream. You don't give up on your dream.
That's cool.
And I'm glad she's like that. My dad's the same way because a lot of people know this, but my dad came from Mexico, came from nothing. He started from the bottom and just worked his way up, and he's provided for us. And same with my mom. When we were kids, they were working 2 jobs apiece, and it was crazy. When you got 3 kids, and at the time my little sister wasn't born, but you have 3 kids in a 2-bedroom house. And then my littlest sister was born, so then you got 4 kids in a 2-bedroom house. You got to grind and keep going to where eventually we were able to move into a bigger home. And I think that growing up with that type of mindset and having that support really kind of pushes me and kind of keeps me going because I'm like, you know what, I don't want to go like that. I don't want to be like that. I want to work my ass off and eventually have something nice, right? I don't want that by any means.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and just with like a regular job structure, right? I mean, we work 40 hours, we get paid for those 40 hours, but in listening to a lot of people speak, like you need to figure out how to multiply time. And for me, I set a personal goal for myself. It's like, money is just a number. It's just a digit, even working at the bank. It's just a digit on the screen.
Oh, for sure.
Why is it that we are only able to make such a small amount at a time, right?
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason why we can't make $1,000 a day. We just got to get in that mindset and make it happen. You know what I mean? And I know that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's $30,000 a month plus.
Sure.
But anyone can do it. That's a beautiful thing. It's the American dream, man. To just wake up, figure out something to make that work. For me personally, I've found that through my artwork, I'm able to do that. In one weekend, 8 hours of work, I can go paint a mural, make $1,000 a day.
Oh, for sure.
But I think it takes the motivation and the drive from within yourself to go out and look for those opportunities, because those opportunities aren't going to come to you.
No.
But the more that you're open to that and the more that you put that out to the universe, the better it's going to come to you.
absolutely. And part of it's getting known and having this social media to say, hey, this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, today I was saying I booked 2 shows up in Soda Springs, Idaho. Who's ever been there?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm getting paid $1,500 to go and do one each day for the shows that I'm doing up there. It's just like, when I started, it wasn't like that. When I started, it was, yeah, I'll work for $100.
Yeah.
You know? I'll do stuff for $100 and
Yeah.
get super excited. And then it was $300. Like, oh my gosh, am I worth $300 for an hour's worth of time?
Yeah.
And now it's $1,500.
Yeah.
You know, I've got friends that are hypnotists that are doing 55 minutes of a presentation, and they're charging $5,000. It's
Oh,
like,
wow.
what?
Yeah.
I'll be there. It's
Yeah,
just not
for sure.
yet, and so we're working towards that. But yeah, so true.
Well, it's just like Eric Thomas, so they call him the hip hop preacher. Have you ever heard of him?
I haven't.
Oh, great guy and great motivational speaker. And when he started out as a motivational speaker, you know, like you were saying, he took jobs that that paid him $100. I paid him $200. I paid him $500. You know, because at that point, no one really knew who he was.
Yeah.
But once people started figuring out who he was and how he was building up and how he was coming up, then he was able to set the prices. You know what I mean? Like he was able to say, you know, you're going to pay me $5,000, and you're going to you're going to pay for my flight. You're going to pay for my food. You know, and I'm only going to come speak for noon to 1 or this and that. You know, because once you're that big and everything like that, and everyone knows you, then you're able to set your own schedule. You're able to set your own prices and literally basically pay yourself because it's your job.
Right.
You know, and I think that's cool. And that eventually that's kind of where we want to be, and we really want to be those people that people call on and say, hey, we want you to come speak at our high school, or hey, we want you to come speak at our corporate event, or hey, we want you to come here and we want you to do this, and that's what I strive for, because I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but how do you feel about the term self-made?
In what aspect do you mean?
As far as aspect as self-made is how people's definition of it is, you made it, you did the hard work, you're your own support team. That's
You
it.
had no
You
outside
had
help. It was basically
no
all
help.
up
It was
to you.
it was all up on you.
I think that's 100% true, because you can stop at any time.
For
It's
sure.
super easy to stop. So, but can be completely self-made.
Yeah,
You gotta have friends, you gotta have family, you gotta have other people that are supporting you. So
it's a double-edged sword, right?
it is,
You
right?
know.
Right. So, back to, you were saying your mom was your support. My mom wasn't at that time. She is now.
Yeah.
She's like, oh man, I'm so glad you're, she goes, I bet you're glad you didn't listen to me. It's like, yeah. And for all of you on Facebook, or those of you that are listening on this podcast right now, find somebody who will push you. Find somebody who you can call when you're having a frustrating downtime.
Mhm.
I had one friend, and I would call him, and I'm like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And he's like, why? And it's just hard. I'm losing money. I'm spending money on equipment. It's not worth it. Well,
Yeah.
you did 2 more shows this year than you did last year. Oh, you know what? You're right. I did
Yeah.
do 2 more shows. Or you doubled from last year. Yeah,
Mhm.
I did. I went from 2 to 4. Now I went from 4 to 8. Then 16. And that push, you got to find somebody to help push you. And I think you guys are part of that thing. And so if somebody's on your Facebook, they're like, hey man, I'm ready to give up, and I don't want to keep doing my business. You got to be relentless to be able to keep pushing forward and
sure.
find that team.
For
So
sure.
I don't know if I answered your question.
You answered it perfectly. I mean,
Yeah, that was perfect.
I
But
mean-
I want to add something to that though, because being self-made, of course, you're going to have outside influences, but no one cares about your goals more than yourself. No matter what that comes to, whether you're trying to build a brand, you're trying to get fit, you're trying to read more or learn more, no one's going to do that for you. You got to get out there and do that yourself. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs get caught up. They don't want to put in the work. They see the instant glory on Instagram or Facebook, and basically what people put on social media
yeah.
is all the good stuff. They don't put the bad stuff. But I think you can take more value out of the bad stuff than the good stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. I just had this conversation with my brother. He had created some beats, on guitar, GarageBand. And so he created these beats, and they were pretty cool if you're into that, right? So
Yeah.
we were with family, and nobody's really caring, And so your comment about people don't care about your goals is like they don't care about your dreams either.
No.
They've got their own stuff going on, and they don't understand where you want to go with this. And so we were talking. It's like it's not that they don't love you.
Yeah.
It's not that your friends don't care about you. It's just that's not their interest, right?
Yeah.
They
It's
all
not
have
their
their own
main
interests.
focus in
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. So
No.
you gotta find that group.
No, for sure. And I mean, when I first started this, I kind of threw the idea to Jimmy, about 2 years ago when we first started talking, And he's like, oh yeah, that'd be so, that's something I've been wanting to do, and that'd be really cool to, to get it started and everything like that. I'm like, yeah, for sure. And then I had a lot of concepts of the name. I had a lot of concepts of as far as artwork goes and everything like that. And then I just kind of let it go for a while. And then he hit me up. He's like, so what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do something? Like, are we gonna blow something up? Like, are we gonna create our own futures? And I was like, shit. I mean, you're right. Like, I mean, what are we doing right now? So so he gave me that push of say, I was like, okay, dude, here's the deal. I said, I'll get everything started. I'll get some artwork going. We'll get together one of these days. We'll buy our name. We'll do everything through the state. We'll do what we got to do to set up a business, because that stuff's not easy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not.
I thought it was easy to get like an EIN number or get an LLC and everything. It's not. I mean, it's easy, but it's not. You have to answer all these questions on what your company's about and what you guys plan on doing and this and that and the other and everything like that. So, but once that was out of the way, and I just was like, okay, well, I'm gonna create some stuff. I got an iPad Pro. I'll create some things and I'll send it to you. Tell me what you think. And then I just started going and going. I think I sent him. I think in one day, like what, 10
Yeah,
10
my phone was
things.
blowing up.
He's like, give me a second. I'll look at it and I'll get back to you. I'm like, all right, dude, sounds good. And he was like, dude, I like him. Let's do it. And I'm like, all right, cool. So then we started figuring out like, okay, who's gonna print stuff for us? Okay, where are we gonna get the best deal? Or where are we gonna make the most money? Because as far as a business, you always want to give everyone good deals, and you always want to let people know like, hey, this is what we have, this and that. But you also don't want to undercut yourself either. You want to make money for you, so that way your future's secure. That you're putting food on the table for your family and everything like that. If you guys have a family or whatnot, but I think the process of building a brand and building a business and basically building yourselves as, I wouldn't say icons, but as far as what's the new word now? Influencers of social media. It's hard. That's hard work. As far as Instagram goes and everything like that, like you have to post like every day, because if you don't, I've noticed this. Like I hit 1,000 followers on my personal page, and then I stopped posting for a while, and I lost like 60 followers. So you have to be in it 100%. And you have to keep grinding, keep pushing, but you also have to have those people, behind you to support you, to keep you going, keep you pushing. There's times where Jimmy will message me and be like, "What are you doing?" Working. He's like, where are we going? Like, what's the plan? Like, what are we gonna do right now? I'm like, I don't know. Like, what do you want to do? I get to that point where I'm like, I need that. I need someone to grab me, basically grab me by the balls and say, hey,
sure,
let's get this going. Let's keep pushing forward. Let's keep moving forward.
Let's keep putting out content. Let's print some shirts. Let's make stickers. Let's do
Exactly.
podcasts. Let's get out and make this thing, blow up, because I think there's a lot of people who can get value from it, and a lot of people who can grow and learn. And I think in life that's what we all want to do, right? We all want to grow. We all want to be better people, and we all want to build a life in the future that we want.
Right, absolutely. Back to your statement about quitting on that thousand people, I did the same thing. I hit 30-something shows, and I was like, everybody knows who I am, and it's just like, and I quit promoting. I quit handing out those business cards, and it was a stupid mistake, because the next year my shows went down, and it takes you, I'll hand out business cards. I may not hear from them for 2 years, so it's, it's a couple of years down the road to build this, and oh my gosh, it was a sucky thing. So you got to keep going.
For sure.
Coca-Cola, how big are they? They still advertise all the time.
All the time, for sure.
Not only do they advertise, but they buy the rights out of all the soda machines.
What restaurant do you go to now that doesn't provide a Coke product? They're all over in McDonald's. That was the biggest. I would say that's the biggest sign on that Coke even ever did back in the day when they signed on with McDonald's.
Probably.
That gave them a good. I would say a good 40% of coming up into being a brand of themselves, because Coke was really big back in the day, as far as everything goes, but once you step into something bigger, then that's when everything kind of just goes,
And I think you got to keep the momentum going, like you were saying. I think that's a big one. You can't just go a little bit and then just completely stop or even slow down. I think a big mistake is not going big fast enough. So basically in saying that, once you get the ball rolling, keep the ball rolling and keep pushing and keep the momentum going as much as you possibly can.
Yeah,
Don't stop. Be relentless in that quest, because the more you do that, the more people that see your stuff, the more followers you're going to get, the more money you're going to make.
For sure.
And in the end, it's not all about the money. You know what I mean? It's all about becoming the person that you want to be. So.
Yeah. But within that too, you got to hold yourself accountable for what you're not doing too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think accountability on a lot of things is what keeps entrepreneurs going, and I think that's a big downfall for a lot of entrepreneurs is that they're not holding themselves accountable, especially in this generation that's coming up. A lot of me and I generation that's, well, the world owes me something. Well, the world don't owe you shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who you are, what color you are. I don't care. Like, the world doesn't owe you anything. If you want it, get off your ass, go get it.
Yeah.
So, so as far as coming to the Hypno Hick, like, what are you doing as far as evolving? Like, are you doing more things, or are you trying to branch out into like another brand of something, or?
So, Hypno Hick is kind of on just autopilot right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of, I've got shows. A year ago, about this time a year ago, I decided that I was going to change my brand, and I was going to become Shaun Christensen. I wanted to go by my real name. The main reason is so I could get into corporations, because I feel that the Hypno Hick is holding me back from working in corporate events as far as public speaking goes, not necessarily as far as shows, but as far as public speaking. That's kind of where I've always wanted to be, the Anthony Robbins type of person.
Yeah.
So I decided to do that. So I actually did a Facebook Live and said, look, I've changed my name, everything's changing, I'm going to be going by Shaun Christensen now. Hypno Hick is kind of off to the side. Super emotional, because I was letting go of something I held on to for 10 years at that time, or 11 years. So so that was my plan. So New Year's Eve, I went out, I did a show at Shaun Christensen, and everything was super cool. And then I start booking fairs in January. So fairs are calling me, they're like, no, we want to stay with Hypno Hick. So, but you don't want to have this like cool new thing? And I was like, no, we're going to stay with Hypno Hick because if it's our fair. Okay, I get that. And so that really shot me down. And so I just, okay, I'll just keep with Hypno Hick. So Shaun Christensen's been kind of like on the downside a little bit. I had different plans by this year for what I wanted to do. But as part of that growing and evolving, it didn't knock me down. It's just like, okay, I've got to rethink how I'm going to market and how I'm going to do what I want to do, which is I want to have the Shaun Christensen experience as a public speaker, but I also want to have Hypno Hick too. I realized that I need both, so I'm marketing both, not pushing Hypno Hick as much as I am Shaun Christensen.
Yeah,
makes sense.
No, that makes sense. So yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense.
So what is Shaun Christensen as a brand? Like, what is your ultimate goal? What do you want to do? I know you want to do public speaking. What do you want to talk about?
That's the golden question, man. Like, what's going to be in the
What
agenda?
Makes the Shaun Christensen experience, man? I'm
So
very intrigued by it.
So there's a couple of things that happen. One is having dancers on stage. I went to the Tony Robbins conference, and that was like, boom, holy cow, this is what I could do. I could do this exact same thing, which is dancers on stage, get the audience up and pumped, and then do a presentation. So that's kind of where I'm in this lull is I'm watching different speakers say, well, you call them and you ask these questions to find out what they need, and then you evolve your speech around that. Yeah. Okay, that's awesome, but I gotta have something, I can't just be like, hey, what do you want to hire me for? Yeah. What are you talking about? Whatever you want. I'm cool, so whatever you want. It doesn't work that way. So the things I'm good at is stress reduction, right? Team building type stuff, fortitude, right, with your business, keep going, keep moving forward. So those are the things I know I'm really good at and that I know how to talk about. But I really don't know the answer to that question, to be completely honest at this point.
Cool, man.
I gotta
reinvent it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of keep it going. And
you gotta have a team building meeting, so figure that out still.
No, that's cool. And I like that though. Because you focus on those three things as far as fortitude, team building, and basically stress relief. Because in a corporate world, those three things are main keys, right? Sure. Especially stress. I would say stress is number one on top, because as far as corporate building wise, as far as like say you're an accountant, or like you're doing hedge funds, or say you're on Wall Street, or say you're a multi-million-dollar company and your stocks are falling down, and how do you bring it up? Or how do you bring that team or to bring your stocks back up, or bring basically your equity in your company? So I definitely see how those main three things would be very beneficial as far as the corporate world goes. Sure. But I get from what you're saying, cold calling and asking people like, well, what are you struggling with, right? Like, what's going on with you? What's going on with your business? This, and this. And I think that still comes with the word of mouth. If people know that a company's struggling and a company is having a hard time bringing their team together, then because their team is so damn stressed and they can't basically move forward from it because these two things are holding them back. And I think word of mouth of the Shaun Christensen experience, of knowing that those are your three main points that you're good at, I think that could go really, really well for you. It's just like you said, how to market it, how to push it, how to bring what those three main keys are, out there to everybody who basically are filming those things in their company. You know.
Sure.
Which will always be around. There'll always be stress that you're not reaching your goals, stress that you're not reaching your sales. And I definitely think that's something that a lot of people could benefit from.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So as far as like kind of where that is going, as far as how big do you want that to be? Are you wanting that to be bigger than the Hypno Hick?
My intention was to go do this, but it's really doing like
it's just
this.
slowly, gradually.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to do 70 presentations a year traveling, but I want it to be all across the country. I don't see it being just a West thing.
Yeah.
So nationwide.
Especially in the big corporate world, because I mean, big corporate world wise is not the West Coast. It really isn't. I mean, yeah, there's big corporations on this West side, but it's not where it is. What it is back east. Because everything's just back east. I mean, if you order something, most of the time it's coming from back east, so that's why it takes so long to get to you. So no, I think that's a really excellent idea. And I think that's really a really good thing to do is not stick with one certain demographic, I would say, and broaden it to something that's just everyone. No, I like that a lot. That's really good, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're not wanting to stick with like a certain people because we're into a lot of things. Jimmy's a skater. Jimmy, does a lot of graffiti art. And does a lot of hip hop beats. EDM and everything like that. And
I do so many things. It's ridiculous.
You got so many hobbies, and then there's me. I mean, I like making designs. I like watching baseball. I like watching football. I'm like you. I like public speaking. I like talking to people, and I think us as a brand just sticking with one demographic and sticking with one set of people is just, it's not right for us. It's not who we are. It's not how we are. It's not how we live our lives. And I think hitting everybody from the skaters to the snowboarders to the surfers to the fitness people to the gym rats to people going in for nursing to people going in and getting their PhDs, their doctorate and everything like that. I think our brand can literally suffice anything you're living, honestly, in my opinion, because I mean the word relentless is used. It's a word that's broadly used everywhere.
Sure.
And I think if we keep on this path and keep on doing what we're doing and pushing ourselves and kind of literally not giving up and being relentless, I think it's going to create a culture that I would say it's somewhat semi-lost, because I mean, I don't know, back when you were younger, when we were our age, I mean, you didn't have a lot of people public speaking, you didn't have a lot of motivational stuff, and I think even with us, I mean, even in the mid 2000s, there still wasn't a lot. I mean, you had Tony Robbins. I mean, you got
Tony Robbins, Ziegler, and Jim Rohn were pretty much the well-known people.
Yeah, I mean, you got.
Who are all fantastic, by the way.
No, for sure.
Great,
but I mean, but now we have a lot. I mean, now we have Gary Vee, and we still have Tony. We got Eric Thomas, we got Grant Cardone. I mean, we got a lot of variety. But what happens when those guys step down? Who's going to take the mantle? Who's going to take the fire? Who's going to take basically the throne? In my opinion, it's people like us. Even though you're a generation before us, but it still doesn't matter. I think it's people like us who are motivated and wanting to help people and make sure that those people know that no matter who you are or what you do, is you can do anything you want.
Right, and they made themselves big by selling cassette tapes.
Right.
8-track tapes. And now it's like podcasting, super free. Here you go. It's they were pushing all that stuff, CDs. Now it's a huge game changer with everything as far as technology goes wise. No, I totally agree. Because even when we were kids, I mean, we still had cassettes. I still remember recording playlists off the radio with cassette tapes. I'm not
recording.
You
remember when they switched to the Discman and then you had to get the anti-skip? That wasn't any fun.
That's exactly what it was. I mean, we had these big things. I mean, I remember when Christmas time one year, my mom bought me my own little CD player. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. She bought me a No Doubt CD because I was a huge No Doubt fan. Still am, dude. I mean, I think Gwen Stefani's amazing. And but no, I played that CD probably till I couldn't play it no more on that. And then the damn CD player broke. You know what I mean? Like that's and nowadays we have our phones.
Yeah.
Everything's downloaded and everything's right there in the palm of our hand from anything that we need. What do you need? There's an app for it. And all these apps are just amazingly just accessible to us.
I love it, and the one thing I love about the phone is no matter who you are, you have a voice, you have an opinion, and you have a message that you want to display to the world, whatever that may be. And I think the phone and the podcasts and the cameras all give us that opportunity to shine, and no matter who you are or where you come from, you can do that. That's why I like this brand so much. We're all relentless in our quest to build our empire within ourselves. What do you want your life to look like? Do you want your kids to be taken care of? Do you want to have to worry about money? Do you want to have to worry about where you live? And in the end, that's what it all comes down to, is finding your own happiness and success within yourself, because success is different for so many different people, right?
Mm-hmm.
For one person, it can be, oh, I'm filthy rich, and that's it.
Yeah.
For another person, it's, oh, I have my family, that's it. Or I have my culture, or whatever it may be. This brand is for you, and it stands for your relentless quest to build your empire, and we want to be your advocates for that.
For sure.
In talking with you, Shaun, man, I see you at the gym all the time. You're relentless. You're relentless in your pursuit to build the Hypno Hick, to build the Shaun Christensen experience, and I have a lot of respect for that, man.
Well, cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, as far as now we're talking about fitness, so then we move into mindset. So, how does fitness and a healthy lifestyle to you, how does that help you keep you on the right mindset and keep you on the right path?
Couple things. With my lifestyle right now, with my businesses, it is 24/7.
Yeah.
Well, except when I'm sleeping, even then I'm dreaming about stuff.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
basically, it's constant thought,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to shut that off. And so
Mhm.
the gym is my downtime to focus on something else besides work. So that's a good thing with that.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to be. I'm super high energy on stage. You guys see my show, so,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So I'm like on stage, right? And Shaun Christensen is no different. It's the same thing. And so I've got to have that stamina, the energy, the fortitude, the whatever on stage, and to keep that up, you got to be in shape because
Yeah.
I haven't been, and it takes it out of you.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if I fly to a higher altitude place and then I'm winded on stage. That looks awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
this guy's teaching us what to do with our life, and he can't even nothing.
can't even keep up for 15 minutes. No.
So yeah, so super important. Yeah, for sure.
No, I like that, and I think I mean we've done this a lot, and we've kind of fallen off of it, but we need to get back on it. Like we would meet at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then that's when we had our morning meeting and was able to kind of basically lay out our week and how we wanted to do things and how things wanted to go. And I think doing that and getting those endorphins running in your brain and getting all that chemical to click, I think it just, I don't know, it gives you that feeling of, I don't know, I would say accomplishment, because then you're lifting, you're getting healthy, but then with us we're also laying out our week, laying out our plans, and it just flows and keeps going.
I think it all comes down to healthy mind, body, and soul, man.
Oh, for sure.
If you're going to the gym, you're going to feel good about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever read the book The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Super great book. And if the listeners haven't read that, I suggest going and reading it. Basically what it comes down to is what you put into your brain determines the way you think and the choices that you make and the actions that you take. And I think at the end of the day, if you're going to the gym and you're studying up, and if you're learning new things, whether it's mindset or you're learning a new talent or a new hobby, those things are going to make you feel so good. I feel like a lot of the time when people are like depressed or have issues like that, it's because they're not living up to their full potential. Have you ever just gone through a time period where you're not doing enough, and of course it's going to make you feel down? Have you ever felt like that?
Oh yeah, a lot.
Now, what is the reverse on the flip side of that, when you're taking action on everything and you're doing the best that you can?
Yeah, and it feels super awesome.
Oh yeah, nothing feels better than that, right? So I think if you take the time to just kind of cleanse out all the negativity in your life and start filling it full of positive stuff and positive influences and hanging out with positive people, it's going to have a dramatic impact in your life, and it's going to help you on that quest.
Well, and that breaks it down to the basic to the law of attraction. I mean, if no one's ever read the book The Secret or even seen it on Netflix, I highly recommend it.
For sure.
I read the book and then I read Netflix, or so I watched it on Netflix, and literally it opened up my eyes, because whatever you put out into the universe and positivity and how you want things to go, that stuff comes back to you. It's karma, basically, is what it is in a simple aspect of how you want to define it, right? But I mean, doing that and putting those things out there and never giving up and never let negativity be in your life, I mean, your life is 10 times better. 10 times better.
Yeah, for sure.
It's an infection, man. The more negative you think, the more bad things are going to happen, and it compounds all on that. But as soon as you switch it to positive thinking and finding the positive stuff in life, everything starts opening up, the possibilities. I'm a big believer in Secret, man, in the universe itself. I don't know what's out there or how the world works or whatever it conjures, but man, I know when I'm thinking positive and I'm doing the things that I need to do, good things come into my life.
Well, same with us. I mean, if once literally when we're together and we're on that positivity and we push and we promote and everything, like we get all this feedback and all this great feedback that we get from everybody. Like oh shit, you know, this is awesome. It feels good. The attention feels good. I mean, I'm addicted to it. I'm just gonna have to say it. Like I'm addicted to the attention of people bringing it back to us because it, I don't know, it makes you feel good inside that people are literally listening to you and they're listening to what you're saying and they're seeing what you're doing and I mean they're giving you kudos for it. You know, and I think that's awesome. I don't know how. I mean, do you feel the same way?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, for sure. You know, and like you just said about being at the gym and getting rid of the negative, toxic people. At the gym, when you start seeing the same people over and over and over again, they're the types who know how to push themselves.
Yeah.
And again, your podcast today that I was listening to was you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with, right? You're the average of that 5 people. So, okay, well, if I'm at the gym with these people who are pushing themselves, you're going to learn how to push yourself.
Yeah.
If you can do it at the gym, you can do it in your business.
No, for
which
sure.
means you can do it with your family, which means you can do it wherever you are. It's super powerful.
And let's be honest, man, it's not easy to go to the gym every day.
It's not. And hypnosis is a great tool to help you with that. You got to hypnotize yourself to get to the gym. So, you know, and that was something I was thinking about today. You broke your arm here a little while ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were still at the gym.
Yeah.
You know, most people would say, well, I guess I ain't going to the gym or I'm going to back out. But you had a goal in mind. You wanted to run that 5K, if I remember.
5K.
Mm-hmm.
So you go and run this 5K. You were still at the gym, pushing yourself, being relentless to
man.
do it. And you got to. And it's not easy to go to the gym. And it's not easy to listen to all of the people saying, quit your job, just get a real job. It's not easy to do that.
Exactly. Or, you know what has always fueled me, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this at all, but growing up, like, no one had hopes for me. They're like, okay, this kid is going to be locked up in prison. I was a little shit. I was always swearing, running around, lighting stuff on fire. So everyone had zero hope for me, right? I was going to be locked up, tatted up. I graduated high school with honors. I went on to start my family like right after high school. I think I was 20 when I had Illy. And that forced me to be more responsible and to do the things that I need to do to provide for her, right? So going from having zero hope for me, I was able to create so much stuff, and it was my fuel to just keep going. Onto pushing 5Ks, onto working for the bank.
Yeah.
Because it's just been one step after another with that positive thinking that has got me there.
Yeah. Well, see, I was the same way. I was just not a good kid. I mean, everyone thought I was a good kid, but I wasn't a good kid. You know, and my mom would just get so mad at me because she's like, you have all this great potential and you're wasting it. You're throwing it away. You're not doing anything with it. And I really didn't get that concept until, like, I actually, in my opinion, felt like I hit rock bottom. And then I realized, I'm like, you know, God, my mom was right. You know, as a kid, you don't want to say that. You don't want to say, oh, you know, your parents are right, and oh, yeah, they know it all, and this, and this. You want to be rebellious and everything like that. But no, by damn it, she was right. You know, and it kind of woke me up and made me want to be a better person. Wanted me to pursue something better than just myself. And I think doing that was probably the best decision I've ever made. You know, I didn't really have a job out of high school. I was kind of a bum. You know, I was pursuing a dream that was just a dead dream, and I didn't know it at that time. But, you know, I started working for Big O as a little tire tech. I didn't know anything about cars. I mean, I knew a little bit, but I didn't know much. And then 4 months later, I became a salesman. You know, they saw, you know, I had a friend, his name's Mike Sosa. He saw something in me and knew it could be greater than what I'm doing now. So I became a salesman. And then later on, I became more of a better salesman. And then later on, I helped co-manage a store. And then I went and worked for, you know, a store up in Salt Lake, you know, that I just quit from. That's the number 1 store in the nation. They do $6 million a year, and now we're pushing to do almost $7 million. So I mean, I think those life experiences, as far as doing that and experiencing new things, I think kind of help you grow as a person and help you basically become a better person within yourself.
Sure. And just when you opened this up, you know, you were saying, you didn't use these words, but thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Society tries to put us in a box, and this is how you got to think, and this is how you got to feel, and this is what you're supposed to do, and this is your life's plan.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
You know? You know, you've got to be the type of person that thinks outside the box, and yeah.
And Shaun, in talking about this, I don't want you to dig too far into it, but what was your upbringing like to push you to be in the position you are today?
We weren't wealthy by any means. You know, it was average. You know, my dad's a mechanic, my mom's a hairstylist, so that's just kind of that was the upbringing. You know, average home, average whatever. But I just wanted attention. I was the oldest kid in my family. You know, grandparents gave me all the attention, so I thrived on the attention, and so I wanted to be on stage. That's been my thing. And the first time I seen it was actually the Judds. You guys probably have no idea who that is. Wynonna Judd, have you heard of her?
I don't think so.
Country music singer. And her and her mom were singing, and that was the first concert I'd ever been to, and I just knew I wanted to be on stage. I just had no idea how to do it, so I decided I want to be a country music singer. Well, you can't sing, right? So that wasn't going to happen. And so life just happened, right? And so I had jobs, and I started managing Arctic Circle, which is a restaurant here in Utah, in St. George, and was working there, and I was selling cowboy boots, and I always wanted more, and there was more to life than just that, and so management was like the highest thing I could see, or owning my own restaurant, or owning whatever. So that was kind of my plan. But back, you know, the high school thing of wanting to become a hypnotist was in the back of my head. Had no clue how to do it. Started working for just different companies and managing companies, and then when I seen that there was a hypnosis school offered, I was like, bam, I don't care how much it costs, that's what I'm going to do. And it was $2,500 to go to that school, and I was like, oh, well, that's not too bad, I'll figure it out. And
hold on, let's stop right there. How did you figure that out? Because I think that's a big one, right? People get caught up in the concept of, oh, it's $2,500, I can't do it. What did you do to make that happen,
so
man?
I just begged. I went to that instructor, and I told her, I said, I want to take your class. How much is it? $2,500 a month. Oh, well, I've got $500 right now. I can give you the $500. I want to take your class. She goes, well, it doesn't start until October. So I came up with another $200, and I said, can I please make you payments? I really want to take this. And I think she's seen the passion and the desire. And so I just made payments every month to her until it was paid off. And
that's awesome.
That's amazing. No, that's
so
really
I do a similar thing with my students. You know, if I see that passion, and that's, you know, I'll do it. So
no, that's awesome, and that's great. And I mean, to anybody who wants to be, I would say, so with your students, with being a hypnotherapist and everything like that, like what's the steps of doing that? Like into coming to you and to your school and have you be the instructor for them? Like what's the cost? You know, how was it to start?
Sure. So the cost is a drop. I charge $1,500 to come to my school.
Okay, so that's not bad.
And I kind of cater to the class. So I try to do it over 5 long weekends, because that's 75 in classroom hours, 25 out of classroom hours, right? We are all day. It's intensive, and so I try to do it over 5 weekends. But we spread those weekends out. So we do 3 on, a couple off, and then 2 on. Or I just finished a class where we did 11 straight days.
Oh wow!
And so it just kind of depends on the class.
Where can people find more information on that if they want to join and be a part of that?
Sure. So they can go to either my websites, either ShaunChristensen.com, which is SHAUN, so SHAUN Christensen CHRISTENSEN.com, or HypnoHick, which is HYPNOHICK.com. You can find me there. Or I have a new website that I just designed, which is called the Worldwide Hypnosis. I've got a Worldwide Hypnosis podcast, or worldwidehypnosis.com.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
Awesome.
and we'll be sure to share those on the page too.
For
If you guys have any interest in that, you're more than welcome to check it out there.
That's awesome. So, with being an entrepreneur and wanting to be your own boss and do your own thing, like, the golden question is, how do you balance that lifestyle with your home lifestyle?
You don't. I'm just kidding.
It's the grand question, right?
So James Arthur Ray, he was one of the guys in The Secret. I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
I went and watched one of his seminars one time, and he said, everybody wants to balance, right? When you are balanced, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
There's just nothing. There's no such thing as balance, right? So sometimes it's stuff like this, sometimes it's stuff like this. He talks about it as an orchestra. So sometimes the brass instruments are leading, and then sometimes it's the drums, and sometimes it's the winds, and then sometimes it's the whatever. It's just this flow of things. And when I got that concept in life, it's like, oh, that makes total sense. Sometimes I'm at the gym. This is important to me. And then sometimes I'm over in work, and sometimes it's with family. But I also had a junior high school teacher that says, when you're in math, think about math.
Yeah.
When you're in science, think about science. When you're in English, think about English. That's all you need to think about. I didn't get it in junior high school.
Yeah.
But now in life, I get it, because like, okay, when I'm on stage, I'm on stage. When I'm at the gym, I'm at the gym. When I'm doing this, I'm doing this. So you got to kind of schedule it, but it's never
It's never
It's
an
never
equal
balance. Yeah, it's not a balance. It's a harmony thing.
Yeah.
You know, dating's difficult,
Yeah.
right? So dating somebody is really hard as an entertainer and being gone all the time. So that's tough. But when you're dating, you're dating.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just you got to play with it and find out what works for you.
Kind of.
I think that's interesting because life in itself is such a weird concept.
Oh,
It's
for
like
sure.
we're supposed to provide for ourselves, we're supposed to make sure we're fed, we're supposed to make sure we're in shape, we're supposed to take care of our family, we're supposed to make sure we have gas in the car,
Yeah.
food in the fridge,
Yeah.
deodorant for your arms,
Right.
you gotta shower,
Yeah.
you gotta be able to hold yourself, talk and walk, man. I know life is crazy, and having that balance and trying to build a brand, or like you said, trying to date someone, you know, I hope you find someone who's willing to put up with those times because girl, the modern man must hustle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is too. I mean, let's talk about the dating scene as far as single men in now in this century, right? It's so hard because, I mean, I don't know how most women are, what girls want, but I mean, most of the time it's, I want someone who's a hard worker. Okay, that's given. It's always given. I want someone who's going to provide. Perfect. It's another given. But I want someone to give me all their time. That's hard, especially if you're an entrepreneur. That's hard because when you know, like us, you know, I work a day job, and then at night, I work on this. Either I'm designing new designs, or I'm finding new ways to promote, or I'm making Instagram posts, or anything like that. Like, I'm always keeping myself busy, and I'm always, you know, have my mindset of work. But when I have my kid, I have my kid. You know, I have my son. That's what I focus on. That's who I am. Like you said, you gotta be able to go from here to here, here to here, or here to here to here to here.
Yeah.
But in dating, I think that's trying to do that's hard.
No, and I think it goes back to what you say in that, because there's a lot of people who won't put up with that.
No, but you're right.
But there's also people who will put up with that,
Mhm.
and people who want to grow and build that empire with you. So big shout out to all the people who found someone who's willing
Oh,
to put
for
up
sure.
with that
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it is not
for
easy
sure.
and it is a
Yeah.
huge thing. But it all comes down to living in the moment, right? I mean,
Mhm.
we all have the same 24 hours. When you're with your girlfriend, spend time with your girlfriend. When you're at the gym, spend the time at the gym. Put in the work. When you're working on your brand, spend your time working on the brand.
Yeah.
If you need to stay up a few hours later, stay up a few hours later.
No, for
Are
sure.
you going to be tired the next day? Yeah. But, nothing great was built within your comfort zone. You gotta figure out that balance in your life. And you have to own that balance in your life.
But I mean, but in doing so, I mean, just so everyone knows, like, we're not just talking about for us men. I mean, there's women entrepreneurs out there
Sure,
too,
right.
and there's some women entrepreneurs out there that kill the game, and they're just pushing and everything. Because I mean, Grant Cardone, he has his thing, right? Does his thing. His wife, killer speaker, and she just is killing the game, and she's doing everything she is that Grant's doing, but in her own way. And doing her own thing and saying her own things and being her own, basically person, right?
Yeah.
So, but in that same concept for women too, I think it's hard for women entrepreneurs to date too, because there are some men that want everything. They want their time. They want them to cook for them. They want them to clean for them. They expect basically the norm of what it was 20, 30 years ago. You cook for me, you clean for me, you do this,
Right,
you
sure.
do my laundry, you do all that stuff. And
But hold up, I'm not going to do anything.
yeah, exactly.
Support me.
You just support me, and then I'll bring the money in, right? I mean, that's basically what it was, and I mean, it's not that no more. It really isn't. I mean, especially if you're an entrepreneur, and especially if someone's an entrepreneur, and the woman you're dating is an entrepreneur, and I think trying to find a balance in that is finding someone that has the same mindset as you. Finding someone who has the same goals, the same aspects in life, and wanting to push to be better, and basically wanting a better life. And I think having that connection and bringing it together, I mean, you'll build an empire. I think you'll build something that's going to be greater than both of you even think of.
I agree, and I think you have to be really careful because people will fall in love with your potential. They can see what you're going after, and
Mhm.
they want that, and so that's where the dream is. And sometimes it takes a turn,
Yeah.
and you're different,
Mhm.
and then that's frustrating for the person you're seeing, is because it's like, well, I thought we were going down this path, and it
Yeah.
sometimes doesn't
I've
happen.
known firsthand that I don't kill you.
Hey, I hear you on that one. So
So let's just ask some random questions. On a scale from 1 to 10, how weird do you think you are?
Probably an 8.5.
Maybe that.
Yeah.
What's something really weird that you enjoy that no one knows about?
I would say it's weird. Fishing is probably like my favorite sport, so I love
Yeah.
to go fishing. But I spinner fish because I have like self-diagnosed ADD, right?
I love
So I can't like sit there and like sit in a boat and wait. I can't do that, and I can't like sit in a lake and sit there and drink,
right.
drink a
You
big,
cast out.
Yeah, I can't do that. So I have to spinner fish, and I like river fishing with spinners.
Cool, man.
Okay.
I actually really enjoy that myself.
Okay, sweet.
Growing up, my dad would take me to like the Duchesne area a lot,
Mhm.
and we would always river fish with spinners. It's my favorite thing, so I really
Nice.
like that.
Well, and it's an art too. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't just throw it out there and expect something to catch.
Right.
You gotta learn how to motion, learn how to go, and everything like that. When to reel in, as far as speed wise and everything like that. And once you master that, then I know guys who fish like that. They just
Yeah,
you know?
It's not as technical as fly fishing.
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's not.
So much.
Catch a lip or a lead. If you could live one place in the entire world right now, where would it be?
I really like Hawaii. Hawaii is probably super awesome, but I like living here. We're close to everything here, being Utah, right?
Yeah.
It's close to the mountains. I'm 15 minutes from the canyons, other than it caught fire here a while ago on the mountain. Basically, we're 15 minutes from the mountains. I can fish, I can hunt, I can camp, I can hike. It's amazing when you go hiking. Utah is just phenomenal. So I probably would live here because I do.
Yeah. And we all have that dream of Hawaii, right? Hawaii,
Right.
Florida, white sand beaches. But no, Utah's great. We get all the seasons. We get snow, we get rain, we get blazing hot summers, and it's super dry. So
Crazy.
I think this is the only state where it can rain, snow, and be sunny in the same day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But also, I think the environment is good too. I mean, I've lived out in California, more northern California, and I loved it there. I mean, the people there were great. I had the hills. They're not really technically mountains there. They're hills. And I think it really brought me close to home because of how people reacted. Always super friendly, always willing to say hello, wave your hand and everything like that. And you don't get that, more northern part of Utah. You get this central part,
Right.
and into the countryside and everything like that. Because growing up in Payson, everybody knew everybody. I couldn't make a move in Payson without my mom knowing. I always got told, "Do I need to call your mom?" No, don't call my mom. Don't call my mom. But I think in doing that, you can't just say you're pumping gas and some guy make eye contact. He's waving at you. I mean, that's just how it is. And I think Utah is a wonderful place to build a family and a wonderful place to raise your kids. It's you do get there's some crime here, and it's not as much, but I mean, you do get that negativity, but you also get that, especially here in Payson, you just get that whole, I would say, homeness here.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next question. You've been good all week. You were killing it at the gym, eating good foods. What's your go-to cheat meal?
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Ooh, those are delicious.
That's
Last
about
night.
right.
Now, the real question is, do you stop at 2?
Yes, I do.
That's discipline.
I do.
Big discipline.
I like pasta, so like Olive Garden's like one of my favorite places to
Yeah,
go.
Olive
Nice.
Garden's delicious. I like pasta
Yeah.
too.
I like Olive Garden. That's quite good.
Maybe elaborate a little bit on the discipline that you need to take each day to help you keep on track.
Scheduling time, that's one discipline I definitely need to work a little bit more on, but I'm also really good at it. So it's like, okay, today I've got to check, I got to check my emails, and I got to go to the gym, and I've got to do this, and I try to be at the gym at the same time every day. I can't be sporadic.
Yeah.
So I try to be there at the same time. I feel almost OCD about that,
Yeah.
but if I don't, I'm not going, and then
Yeah.
I feel like crap the next day. So
Yeah, you don't do it for 3 days and boom.
yeah. Same thing with my business. It's like, okay, I've got to focus on this. I've got to change some skits this time because this company's hired me before, so I need to change skits. It just kind of depends. And in this business, being the stage hypnotist, you can play with it because it's just, you either have something set or you want to change some stuff. So it's just kind of different.
Cool.
Okay, so you're in a position that you feel like you've made it, you've crushed it, you've reached all your goals. What's your dream car?
I really like a Mercedes. Yeah.
Mercedes. I'm a
Yeah, I
big
like
fan of
Mercedes.
Mercedes. Which model? Any of them?
All of them. Yeah.
2 or 3?
Yeah, I
Anything
seen the
with-
new one
anything with
yesterday. I'm
AMG?
not sure what the new model is. I seen a new one yesterday. I was like, holy crap, that's really cool. So I wanted to catch up to it, but I couldn't. So.
Nice.
Nice.
So I kind of learned this saying when I was in high school because I had a truancy teacher tell me this, because he saw the potential in me too. He kind of gave me this. I don't know how this would kind of suffice as far as public speaking goes. I feel like it's a very good note, but especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a self-motivator, but you also want to help people motivate themselves and everything like that. People don't care on how much you know until they know how much you care. Like how do you feel when that saying goes as far as being a keynote speaker, being someone who goes out and does all these shows as far as being the Hypno Hick and as far as being the Shaun Christensen, experience.
I think that is so true. They can feel it. The audience can feel if you're there just to make money, or they can feel if you're there for some other reason.
Yeah.
I went to a church last week, and the pastor was up speaking, and I feel like he wasn't there because he wanted to be there for the people. He was there for an income, and I could feel it.
Yeah.
And so it's awful and sad. Tony Robbins is passionate about what he does, and every day, and he gets emotional on stage, and he tells you the crap he's going through, and he tells you where he's headed. And then I've been to other presentations that is like it's very rehearsed, and it's just I'm here and I'm just making my money. So yeah, I think if you care about what you're doing and care about the people, it shows.
For sure. Awesome.
If you could give anyone out there advice, what would that advice be?
As far as business,
Anything.
Since we're talking about this, the business subject, that's what's in my head right this second. I'm sure I could give better advice than this, but right now it's don't stop. If you have a passion, go for it. That would be my ultimate advice. Don't stop. Keep trying different things. For instance, if somebody's playing Xbox or they're playing PlayStation, how many times do they get killed? And it's let's say my brother just got this game called Red Dead Redemption. If he got killed by a bear, does he give up on the game? No, he tries it again, and he does it again, and he tries these different techniques until you win that piece, right? So if you're playing a video game, how many times do you give yourself to overcome that? But we don't do that in real life. It's like, well, I get knocked down, so I'm done. Keep going. Try something different. Talk to different people. Throw it out there. Say, hey, I'm having this problem with this, and get some advice. You're going to have haters, and you're going to have people say, oh, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, weed through that and find those people who are like successful and go for that.
Yeah.
So don't give up. Number one piece of advice. Number two, find somebody to push you. Find somebody to ask the hard questions. My friend, he'd ask me, so what are you doing this week? And how are you gonna achieve that? What companies are you gonna go talk to? Who are you gonna call?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. And then you go home and you think about it, it's like, I guess I could do it this way. Or just find that person that's gonna push you. So that's my second piece of advice.
I like that.
Perfect, man. I love it. Well, it looks like we've been going for about an hour here. Is there anything else you guys would like to discuss?
No, I think we really nailed it, and I think we provided a really good thing, and I'm glad that we had this, and I learned a lot from you and how how you do things and how basically what your mindset is, and I think our listeners probably got the same probably got the same thing from us, and I hope in my opinion, as far as being in Relentless Empire, I always want to take something from somebody. I just want to whatever they tell me, I want to take that and basically put it into my own lifestyle and how I can perfect my lifestyle. But also I want people to take something from me and be like, I actually had a really good point there. Maybe I'll try that. I think being an entrepreneur or a keynote speaker or being, a motivational speaker or anything like that, you have to do those things. You have to have that balance of give and take, because I think, like I said, back to that saying, if you're just giving, people don't give a shit.
Right.
They want you to take something from them and be like, what? Your experience changed me. And you're like, well, why? I'm not special. I'm not thinking, no, you are special. I took what you told me and I provided that and I put that in my life and thought about it and it made things better. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel.
We'll make sure to go ahead and share all your links and everything on the Facebook page and on Instagram so people can find it. And then we also got this shirt for you. Hope to see you rock it at the gym.
Sweet, man. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome. Much love and thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah,
We
for
appreciate
sure.
it.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Thanks, guys.
And you listeners too, I hope you got something from this. We're excited to go through the comments and see everything that you guys posted.
For sure.
And if there's anything else that we can do for you or any extra value that we can provide for you, feel free to reach out. We're also giving away stickers and we have a lot of other stuff coming for you.
So, for sure. And just so you guys know, this is going to be kind of a regular thing for us. We want to do Facebook Live. We want to do all these podcasts and we will be having more guests on with us. And it's free. We're not going to make you pay for it. All we really care about is your support and the passion to succeed. That's what we're here for. That's what he's here for. That's what we all want to do. And we want to basically create a community that we're all helping each other because I think that culture has died. I think helping that neighbor has died, and I want to bring that back. So,
For sure.
Alrighty, guys. Much love. Bless up. Thanks for coming out.